what's been going on, because a lot of people are saying the boys look flat, the boys look short of energy, or the training methods are ridiculously tough. And I think Eddie Jones made a statement, didn't he, about saying, the breakdown is something we might not be able to fix in the next 18 months. What's that about?
Who do you single out as far as players, Goody?
It's a collective, but ultimately the balance of our back row is poor, isn't it? You look at everyone's been clamouring for Don Armand to get selected on Premiership form, and he's finally done that.
You're welcome.
Goody, Ireland's last gasp win over France in round one's the only away win in this year's tournament outside of Italy. Does that show how tough the competition is, and maybe people exaggerating how bad England are at the moment?
I don't think England are bad. I think we're just a bit further away than where Eddie Jones says we are. I think Eddie Jones, as he said, we're 2 or 3% away or something. I think we're a lot more than that. But listen, we're going away to France and away to Scotland. Both countries detest the English, and they've clearly raised their game to play against us. And we haven't handled the physicality of it. We've not handled the breakdown. Going into the Championship, were we the best team on paper or in terms of our record? Yeah, we probably were. But as we've said on the pod, and as people have said, we've plateaued, and our performances in the autumn weren't great, and it's carried on into this Six Nations. And Eddie Jones needs to have a look at what he does at training, talking about bringing in a new attack coach. But in reality, Ireland are head and shoulders above everyone else, so it's still right.
Goody, some parts of the...
My missus is at the table. I've got steak ready for me at the table, so your chat's pretty lame this week.
Well, mate, please don't eat too much. Carolyn, is that you?
I can't anymore. I'm in a restaurant.
Goody, put the cigarettes down.
Please hang up.
Please hang up, yeah.
Please hang up.
I'm actually worried about him there. Is he on the shisha? Is he on the Marlboros?
Are you guys enjoying watching England go down the gurgler at the moment? Well, not go down the gurgler, but not play so well. Are you guys enjoying this? Because I think a lot of the world tend to be quite anti the English when it comes to rugby when they're doing well.
I don't know, really. I think last year or 2 years ago they were great. Last year no one could beat them, and now this year they haven't been great. And as Jim said, they're fighting for fifth. So I reckon loads of people are enjoying seeing that. Because everyone did say before this tournament started, it's 100% going to be Ireland England on St Patrick's Day in HQ, as the English say. But yeah, I reckon loads of people are delighted.
I think there's a few things around this England team. The first being that they are a good team, so people want to see good teams lose, don't they? They want to see teams winning the whole time, which England ultimately have done, apart from the Ireland game before the Six Nations. And then the other one is Eddie Jones. I feel that people don't warm to him. The arrogance that he has, and I quite like it. I quite like the fact that you're arrogant, and you back your team like he does. And it was interesting, actually. I was listening to another podcast with Joey Barton interviewing Clive Woodward, and he was talking about Eddie Jones, actually. Clive Woodward was, and saying that he is one of them coaches that only looks forward. He's all about winning. And let's not forget, Eddie Jones was that coach in the 2003 World Cup that Australia got beat by, obviously, the Johnny Wilson drop goal and ultimately won the World Cup.
And 2007 he went there as well, Jake White.
Exactly. So this is Eddie Jones's last chance as a coach, really, this World Cup in 2019, to do something. And I think the other thing is with this England team, they look tired. Like they are. They're tired. Their star players haven't performed.
Well, there's no player welfare, is there? Because those Irish lads were getting,
Here we go, controversy. You're right. Go on, B-Mac. Open up. Let's go.
They don't play in the Dragons away, or they're not off to Treviso, and they get nicely rested. They get really unbelievably well looked after, and then they're primed, ready to go for the big European games. Like when Leinster play Sarries, the Leinster lads will be definitely, even though they're still coming out of the Six Nations, they'll definitely be more fresh than the Sarries lads will be.
Yeah.
And those English fellas, it's. You could see fellas going and playing 10, 11, 80 minutes in a row. And it's impossible. No matter who we are, it's tough to do that.
Exactly. And that's what I think, what B-Mac's saying there. You look at the other nations in terms of the British and Irish teams, they all look primed, even Wales. Even the Welsh players, and there's all the story about George North obviously not playing the week before so he could play the game at the weekend. And you can see why. England, they look tired off the back of the Lions. You look at Marrow, good friend of mine, taught him all he knows. He has not been at the levels that he was,
That's because the laws have changed.
last season. Yeah, the laws are kicking the balls out of the ruck. Mate, the same goes for Owen. Like we've mentioned it, haven't we? The same goes for Farrell. The same goes for Watson. Like, you know, these people the players that would stand out for the British and Irish Lions, they're not at that level now. And
Yeah, but as you said, the poor lads need a rest.
yeah, they do. And but when they're going to get a rest, because they're going to come back off international, and Saracens have got a huge game against Harlequins, and there's still tickets available at the London Stadium if anyone wants any.
So what is it? Is it the rest or is it Eddie Jones? Because the media, I've been surprised at how quickly they've turned on Eddie Jones.
But that's what it is, isn't it? Like the media in this country, being England, they're ruthless, aren't they? Like, and they're always looking for a story. They're always looking for a different angle. But that's it for England. Like, people are looking for them to lose because they're not well liked around the world because they're successful, you know, in what they do. Like anyone who comes to play rugby wants to come and play in England, want to come and play in Europe because it's the heartbeat of rugby.
Yeah, and the Premiership's incredible, yeah.
Well, it's the Premiership, and that's the thing. And ultimately, that's where it's biting this team in the arse because they're overplayed and they're not fresh. But there's, you know, is there a bigger plan for Eddie Jones? Is he wanting this because come the World Cup time in 18 months, he wants his team to have gone through pressure. He wants them to have lost. He's overtrained them, and you know, you only have to look at the injuries that have come out of training. You know, Sam Jones at your place, at the back row.
Oh yeah.
Injured his ankle. You know, doing
shocking injury. Yeah.
Doing judo. Horrible injury from, you know, a talented player like that who would have gone on to play for England, or he might still do if he comes through this injury. You know, we'll see. But the injuries that they're picking up in training, you're not hearing any other injuries from any other international team, and you just wonder whether Eddie Jones is doing this and putting pressure on them because come the World Cup time, it's going to be difficult.